A reader asks, what do we do in B2B when our end users aren't our customers? They're our customers' customers. So how do we get access to them? There's a few ways to do this, and I'll give you the highlights of a few different strategies, and then I'll share some resources for how you can dig in and try some options. So the first thing is one of the things I recommend in my book is to automate your recruiting process. So you're letting your customers opt in to customer interviews. There's a few ways you can do this. You can put in hooks within your product where, just like we embed NPS surveys in our product, or we do tool tips within our product. We can use a similar mechanism to allow customers to opt in to our interviews. So if our customers are okay with us including these in our product, it's a way to reach their end users. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you frame it to your customers in a way that's beneficial to them, right? So you want to make sure they understand that if you're able to interview their end users, then you can make a product that works better for the end users, and therefore it creates more value for the customer. Not all customers are okay with this, in which case I'm going to recommend a second strategy, which is you may not be able to put these opt-ins in all of your product for all of your customers, but you can set up design partners where you partner with a few customers where they want to learn more about their end users, and you partner with them to do the same sort of strategies, but only in their instances of your product. And that can be really successful because all it takes is 1 or 2 or 3 customers who are curious about their end users, who want to learn from what you're learning, and you can get access to those customers. The third thing you can do is, if neither of those first 2 strategies work, you can recruit people who are like your end users. So let me give an example. Let's say that you work on patient, like My Health Chart, patient software that patients are using to access their medical records or access their test results. And your customers are the doctor's offices or the hospitals, and they don't want you to embed anything in the product. They don't want you to have access to your end users. You can still recruit patients, right? You can use community sites like Craigslist or Reddit or LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups. You can launch a landing page and run ads targeting the right people. And you can just interview patients about their experience with these medical portals. Now, not everybody you recruit is necessarily going to be using your product, so you might have to use a screener. Now, some of the challenges in this particular example is they may not know the name of the product, but you'd have to find a way to filter out the right people. But you don't always have to recruit people from within your product, because in a B2B context that may not be feasible. You can look at these other communities as a way to find people like your customer, or people who actually are your customer, but you're not your end user, but you're not reaching them through your customer. I did recently do a short video about this idea of interviewing your customers versus interviewing people like your customers. I'll add a link to that because there's a few things to consider when interviewing people that are like your customers instead of your actual customers. And then for those of you watching, if you work in a B2B context and you face some resistance to getting access to your end users, but you are able to do so, share your best tip in the comments below so everybody else can learn from your experience.